Of allegiance. May we bow in an attitude of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we say thank you for the night of rest and for this opportunity to be present this morning. Lord, thank you for another beautiful day in Washington County. We pray this morning for our legislators. They are working hard in Annapolis, and Lord, watch over them, protect them, guide them through their deliberations, their challenges, and their successes. Lord, as the 90-day session quickly closes here soon, may you give them the strength to carry on and continue and to serve the citizens of both Washington County and all the counties and municipalities of the great state of Maryland. Lead, guide, and direct us, Lord, today. I pray that what we do and say is honoring and pleasing unto you. And within these things we ask it in thy Son's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of February 24th, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Next up is Commissioners' reports and comments. And Commissioner Wagner, you want to go first?
Sure. Good morning. Just have one quick thing. I wanted to thank Alex Reed, our county watershed specialist, for his presentation to the Land Use Council last week. Alex gave a very informative presentation about how our watersheds are managed conforming to all the government regulations, and how the groups that are volunteers clean up our creeks and streams. And they spend a lot of time, free time, their time, and it's amazing how much trash they pull out of these waterways. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Leatherman?
Thank you, John. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Here it is, the 17th of March, 2026. Hard to believe. The year is moving along. First item this morning that I'd like to mention is a young lady by the name of Sarah Woodson. She was a member of Zion Baptist Church, Jonathan and Bethel, for many years. We recently attended her 100th birthday, and Sarah passed from this life. Wonderful woman. She served the Jonathan Street community for decades, and she will be missed. I'm sure that Sarah heard, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Wonderful woman. Second thing I'd like to talk about is Company 13. That's the fire and rescue company in Morgansville. Saturday evening they celebrated, had a banquet at Fountainhead Country Club, and recognized their membership for the service to our community. In 2025, Company 13 alone responded to 1,140 emergencies. That's significant. Well done, Company 13. Very sincere thank you from me and all the commissioners. And finally, Sunday afternoon, my wife and I were able to attend the 130th anniversary of, again, Zion Baptist Church. Think of that. 130 years they have been at the corner of Jonathan and Bethel serving the community. Outstanding folks. What a service to our community. And again, it was an honor to spend time with them and celebrate 130 years here in Hagerstown. That's all I've got, John. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Klein?
Yeah, good morning, everybody, and happy St. Patrick's Day to all, too. Thanks for the reminder, Commissioner Leatherman. And just a reminder, I think spring is only 4 days away, even though we had ice on our car windshields this morning. Well, good morning, everyone. I also attended an awards banquet at the Community Volunteer Fire Company District 12, also known as Fair Play. They're a very well-organized group. Their social club members are very active, helping raise funds. And Commissioner Leatherman noted, as I'll mention with attending Morgansville, the calls are going up every year for service. They're not going down. I also want to thank the county staff who was at the Home Builder Show over the weekend, the previous weekend. I thank you for being there and taking your time to talk to the folks. I also attended something out at the the Public Safety Training Center. It was the Lifesavers Award sponsored by county government. There were incidents all throughout. Every day there's a miracle. Every day our fire EMS people are putting things together to help save lives. And the Lifesaver Award brought together the units that called upon someone whose life was saved from one of those incidents. And it was very rewarding and emotional seeing the 4, 5, 6 people who responded to that call from all different types of agency with someone they saved from a cardiac arrest. Each and every day, there's miracles like that going on with our volunteers and career staff. So thank you for all who was involved in organizing that and to our first responders. Also, last week attended the Emergency Communications Specialist Academy graduates at the Public Safety Training Center. They're the first line. They're the ones that you make that 911 call to. They're dispatchers, and they're often known as the calm voice on the radio. So congratulations and best wishes to those new call takers. I had Saturday morning breakfast with former Commissioner Terry Baker, always calling him Commissioner, but Delegate Baker and Senator McKay, talking about some of the things and stuff are going on in Annapolis. It was great for the camaraderie. We had breakfast at the Clear Spring Diner, which is recently reopened. I urge everybody to stop up at the diner. I also attended the 2025 Annual Awards Banquet for the Marcusville Volunteer Fire Company. They too see ever increasing call volume. And one of the honorees that night was Ed Schendel, who had 47 years of volunteerism to that fire company. And kudos and special note of thanks to him and all the volunteers at that company. I also attended the memorial service for Bob Moncrief at the Williamsport Fire Hall. Mr. Moncrief had over 50 years of service to the volunteer fire system, part of the Volunteer Fire Association, and most recently he was with the fire police, the auxiliary police that often show up and help protect those who are putting out the fires or car accidents. So very heartwarming memorial service by his family. And then I did attend the steeple dedication down at Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church in Boonesboro, a nice event to see that church come together and refurbish that steeple and place that up there. And on another note of significance, this year is the 10th anniversary of the original grand opening of our Washington County Senior Center at Commission on Aging. That's been a big success from Amy Olag to Ed Lowe and all the folks that are on that committee and help over there bringing those services to seniors who don't know where to turn. Sometimes it's built them a state-of-art building, and they've lived up to their promise to keep that as an active organization. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. As you can tell, it's been a very busy week, and many of these venues that have been mentioned here this morning, multiple commissioners have been in attendance and very active. A couple things that weren't mentioned was our community is blessed to have a community concert group that performs periodically at the historic Maryland Theater. And as I mentioned, the Maryland Theater, I think they have like 500 venues planned for this year and upcoming years. So there's literally something going on at least every day at our Maryland Theater. We were very blessed that the initiative over the years has been put forth to restore that facility, and it's a gem in our community. With that, with the community concert series, last week they had one of their concerts, and it was graced by a family of 10 siblings out of Canada, and it was phenomenal. It was 2 hours of just an incredible evening out, and the theater was packed. I don't think there was hardly an empty seat in the facility, and it was obviously well attended. A couple other things. Last Thursday morning, former Senator Andy Serafini and I made the trek to Annapolis for a 7:30 prayer breakfast. They have an annual prayer breakfast, the state legislature, once during the 90-day session. That was held last Thursday, March 12th. And it was another fine affair. We had the chaplain from the U.S. House of Representatives gave the comments and the service, and the Salisbury Children's Choir got up early that morning, traveled all the way from Salisbury over to Annapolis, 30 strong, and it was something to be there and witness those young people and the performance that in voices that they gave to the legislature. If there's a negative, I was somewhat shocked and appalled that out of 250 legislators between the House and the Senate, there was a little over a handful that attended the prayer breakfast. And I'm just send a message that I find that a little bit concerning. So with that, I know there's a number of other things, but I'll move right on to staff comments.
Commissioners, I demand the right to be able to speak at our public meetings. These are our public meetings, and we have citizen
Ma'am.
comments. We have a constitutional right to representation.
Ma'am, this is not an open public forum, and please, I'm going to ask you, ma'am, I'm going to ask you to either sit down or leave.
I'm going to leave, and you all should be ashamed of yourself. I'm voting God while you're supporting this bullshit.
With that, I'm going to move right into staff comments. Michelle, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I have several letters of support and/or letters of opposition that I would like to gain a consensus for. First is a letter of opposition to budget changes in a miscellaneous grant program, SB 282. The Board of County Commissioners opposes the proposed fiscal year 27 state capital funding reduction of $1.5 million to $750,000 for Hagerstown Regional Airport Air Traffic Control Tower. I need a consensus for this letter.
Okay.
Consensus?
Consensus.
Yep.
Next is letter of support for Cedar Ridge Children's Home and School for their application for funding to replace the wastewater treatment plant that services their Williamsport, Maryland campus. They are not asking for funding from the county.
Consensus.
fine.
Next is a letter of support for the Flying Boxcars' efforts to host the Banana Ball World Classic at Meredith Park in Hagerstown. They're not asking for funding from the city. They're asking for a letter of support to attract that tour here to Hagerstown.
Support.
Next is a letter of support for direct spending for the Smithsburg wastewater pump station replacement project. The town of Smithsburg is requesting congressionally directed spending to fund the wastewater pump station replacement project. The board has already allocated $137,000 in American Rescue Plan funds. Is letter of support for Senate Bill 714, mobile food service facilities and semi-permanent food service facilities, toilet and lavatory facilities. This bill is being proposed to exempt mobile and semi-permanent food facilities from having permanent lavatory and toilet facilities. It's inconsistent with the business model, cuts into entrepreneurs' profits, and generally makes running a mobile or semi-permanent food for service facility less competitive and more cumbersome. This is small business friendly, and it exempts them from having to have on-site lavatory and toilet facilities.
Consensus to support.
Okay, next is, I'd like to thank our staff for coordinating the St. Patty's Day Run on Saturday. This event is coordinated by our Parks and Recs Department in coordination with the city's Parks and Rec Department. It's a wonderful event. It's been ongoing for a number of years, and they've done an incredible job with that. I'd also like to thank staff who participated in the Home Builders Show this weekend as well. I also attended the Fair Play Fire Company, or the Community Volunteer Fire Company number 12 banquet. I attended the Emergency Communications Center graduate ceremony. I'd like to congratulate all of those graduates as they start their county careers. I'd like to extend my condolences to the family of Rick Farley, who is our Chief Site Inspector for 10 years. He passed away earlier this month. And last, I'd like to provide a recap on information related to the federal government's purchase of a warehouse on Wright Road in Williamsport, Maryland. Washington County government was not involved in the site selection process and was not consulted by the federal government or the private entity involved in the sales transaction of this existing structure. This is now a property owned by the federal government. As such, Washington County government has no jurisdiction, and we are not the governing body that will be overseeing this project. Many of the suggestions being made by non-county residents and some county residents refer to recent actions taken in Howard County. That comparison is not the same as the situation we have here in Washington County. Howard County government took a potentially adverse action against a private company. Washington County, the property in question is owned by the federal government, and that simply is not the same here. Any actions taken by Washington County would require a legal opinion and interpretation of the potential liability of all parties involved, both for the county and personally for individuals taking potentially adverse actions against another organization. Additionally, a legal opinion and interpretation would be needed regarding the hierarchy and interactions between local, state, and federal government authority and jurisdiction, all of which we are not able to comment on at this time. A resolution was adopted by the Board of County Commissioners on February the 10th of 2026. This resolution expresses general support for the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and local law enforcement agencies in their roles related to public safety and encourages cooperation across all levels of government. The Board of County Commissioners does announce that officials from Washington County held an initial meeting with officials from the Department of Homeland Security yesterday on March the 16th, 2026. Prior to that meeting, there was no knowledge regarding this project, and this was the first contact that county officials have made with Department of Homeland Security officials. That meeting marked a significant step towards enhancing knowledge sharing and opened the lines of communication regarding the Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Washington County, Maryland. This first meeting brought together key subject matter experts, county, and DHS leadership. During the meeting, Washington County officials addressed a variety of topics, including aspects regarding community concerns and concerns regarding impact on local resources. The first topic that was discussed related to water and sewer. DHS indicated that they have hired a contractor, KVG LLC, to renovate the warehouse in Washington County. That contractor would be responsible for all engineering work related to potential water and sewer needs. KVG would be in contact with the city and the county for water and sewer service needs in the future. DHS officials indicated that the federal government would pay any fees needed for additional capacity and also for any infrastructure improvements needed to the Wright Road sewage pump station plant. DHS officials indicated that the facility is a processing facility and not a detention center. It is essentially a booking facility where detainees will be brought for intake processing. Detainees would stay at that facility for an average of 3 to 7 days, after which they would be transferred to a detention center for long-term needs out of the state, to another state. As far as impact on local resources, they will have their own complement of medical staff, including doctors and nurses, 24/7. As far as impact on medical and EMS, they do not believe they will need a lot, as they will handle medical needs in-house so as not to overburden our local resources. They anticipate that about 500 beds would be in use on any given day. However, the facility would be outfitted with 1,500 beds, so capacity could go higher at times. They expressed their desire to dispel negative comments with regard to how detainees are housed and treated. They will have a full medical staff and provide ancillary services. They have the highest detention standards in the country. They are audited monthly and annually by an independent third party who reviews services provided for food, medical, religious, recreation, legal, etc. Officials from DHS welcomed the open dialogue between our agencies and expressed a desire to maintain ongoing communication and collaboration. Comments may be sent to contact commissioners at washco-md.net or mail to the Board of County Commissioners at Washington County, Maryland at 100 West Washington Street, Suite 1101, Hagerstown, Maryland 21740. Alternatively, you may mail or call each commissioner. Their phone numbers are available on the county's website. Beyond the statements released on January the 28th, the resolution on February the 10th, and the comments regarding yesterday's meeting, I have no additional information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move right into the first agenda item, which is a public hearing, modification of 911 fees. And before we start the public hearing, I'd like to read the following statement. Okay. I'm sorry.
Take a brief
Yeah,
recess.
okay. Legal has advised that I am pushing the boundary here a little bit this morning. The public hearing is set for 9:30, and so we're going to take a quick recess and wait till 9:30 to start that on the appropriate time. Thank you.
Are we clear in the room during the recess? Are you clearing the room during the recess?
Should we? It's only 8 minutes. As long as it's civil, I'd say. Opening statement, and with that, we'll move forward. Next on the agenda is a public hearing concerning a proposed modification of the 911 fee. The purpose of this hearing is to hear public testimony concerning the matter. The procedure is as follows. We will first have staff introduce the matter, after which the hearing will be open for public comment and testimony. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to testify. Testimony shall be limited only to the proposed modification of the 911 fee. Testimony that is not relevant to the subject matter of the public hearing or that which is repetitive, disruptive, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the public hearing will not be tolerated. Unauthorized remarks, loud noises, whistles, yells, or similar disruptions from the gallery shall not be permitted. Anyone who fails to follow these rules forfeits their opportunity to testify and will be asked to return to their seat or leave the meeting. Once public comment has concluded, the hearing will close. There shall be no donating or pooling of time to allow any one person to speak longer than 3 minutes. The commissioners then discuss the issue and may move to adopt the proposed fee schedule for FY 2027 as presented or modified at any point following the closure of the public hearing. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Zach Kiefer and Kelsey Mace. Would you please introduce the matter?
Good morning, Kelsey Mace, Chief Financial Officer.
Zach Kiefer, County Attorney.
So per Maryland Code, Public Safety Article subsection 1-311C1, a county may impose a 911 fee of up to 75 cents to be added to all current bills rendered for Switch Local Exchange Access Service, or CMRS, or other 911 accessible service in the county. If the revenues attributed to the county's 911 fee do not provide the revenues necessary to cover a county's operation costs for the 911 system, then subsection 1-311C2 allows a county to impose a 911 fee higher than the 75 cents to cover the county's projected operations costs for the system. The proposed modification is to increase the fee from $1.75 per month per bill to $2 per month per bill. This fee was last increased July 1st, 2025. For fiscal year 25, 911 revenue totaled $2.7 million, while operational costs of the 911 system was $6.3 million, leaving a shortfall of $3.6 million. For FY 26, the budgeted 911 revenue is $3.2 million, while budgeted costs are $7.2 million. In the proposed FY 27 budget, 911 revenues, including the fee increase, are $3.7 million, while proposed costs are $7.4 million. This proposed fee change will generate approximately $500,000 in additional revenue.
We will now open the hearing for public comment. Please come forward as your name is called. You have the sign-up sheet. Thank you. First up is Dave Williams.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Dave Williams from Smithsburg. I'm here today to speak in support of increasing the 911 fee. 911 is an essential service serving the county, and I believe it's going to become even more essential in the near future. I believe the volume of calls will increase, especially when the ice activity in the county picks up and citizens will be calling in to possibly report suspicious activity or questionable activity by ICE agents as they pick up people in the community. Also, with the detention center nearby, it has been shown that on an average, other communities with detention centers have seen their 911 calls increase by at least 1 call per day. And even with the higher medical standards that supposedly the detention centers have, they're having 32 deaths in the past year in centers. And also, so far this year, there have been at least 12 deaths in detention centers. And when people stay overnight in a center for 3 to 5 days, that is in fact a detention center and not just a processing center. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Taj Smith.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Taj Smith, President of the Washington County NAACP. I'm here on behalf of the branch to address the proposed 911 fee modification. Your report highlights a $3.7 million shortfall. You are asking residents to bridge the gap with this fee increase. The county administrator in his statement claims that you have no jurisdiction over the Wright Road property. This lack of jurisdiction is exactly why we are in a fiscal crisis. You are presiding over a massive loss of tax revenue. DHS purchased this site for $102 million and is spending $113 million to convert it. If this were a private asset valued at $215 million, it would generate $2 million in annual property taxes or $20 million over the next decade. This federal property is tax exempt, contributing nothing to the $3.7 million 911 deficit. The fiscal
Smith?
impact of this requested fee increase
Mrs. Smith?
directly tied to the 182,500 people that will move through this facility annually. That's
Mrs. Smith,
equivalent
you
to
were
the
out of order.
county's
I'm gonna
entire
ask you to-
population. I'm speaking about the 911 increase. We are currently struggling to meet fire suppression needs, and we cannot afford to divert water to this federal property. It is fiscally reckless for
Mrs.
this
Smith,
board
I'm
to
asking you
proceed
to
with
step away from the
conversation.
microphone.
We can hear you, a judge should say.
It's irrelevant to the 911 fee increase. This is,
Ask her to sit down.
Mrs. Smith, I'm going to ask you to sit down or please leave.
Emergency departments will lose vital personnel.
Mrs. Smith.
Recruitment, further increasing operational costs.
Ask the lieutenant to, that's
We will need to consider more.
Lieutenant, we're going to have to ask her to leave.
Because you are burying our first responders in an unimaginable work.
Next up is Curtis Ray.
Hello, I'm Curtis Ray. I live in Hagerstown. I'm currently running for candidacy for the 2026 County Commissioner election, running as a Republican. I agree with the fee increase for the 911 emergency fee increase. My main dilemma throughout this whole ordeal is you're not increasing it enough to actually pay for the entire budget of it. Per the regulation that was cited, you are able to increase it to the point where it would cover the whole budget for the 911 emergency fee. Why are we not doing that? You are going to have a massive shortfall. Most people will agree that it is a necessity to have 911 operating. It makes no sense why you are planning for a deficit. We have the ability to correct it right now. There's no reason that you shouldn't. You're going to just push this off again onto next generations, onto next elective officials that are going to have to make these hard decisions where they are going to have to increase it to cover the budget. This is why we are having such budgetary issues, is because you guys can't do basic math. If 3.7 is less than 7.4, you're going to have a deficit. You need to increase it to the point where it covers it. People would be okay with this increase because they know it's going directly to the 911 fund. It's not going to your pockets. It's not going to some arbitrary nonprofit. It's going to an actual fund that is needed to be funded. And there's no reason that we should not cover the whole fund. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Seth Wilson.
I'm good, thanks.
Thank you. Next up is Sean Porter.
Alrighty, so I'm here to support the fee increase for the simple fact that I read about this And you actually could take money that's raised from this and use it in different parts of the budget, like to supplement the fact that you guys are giving yourselves an 8.14% pay raise, but the teachers are not getting anything other than a 1% pay raise. So I think maybe we could use some of this money to boost up the teachers' pay to compensate for the fact that they're getting 7.14% less of a raise this year than the county commissioners, who are voting themselves an 8.14% raise. Also, we could use that money from the 911 fees to supplement the Board of Ed budget insofar as to pay for the school buses that we lost last year. Westmore took $9 million away from us in December of 2024, and as a result of that, the buses are worn out. They're being maintained as best they can, but we need new buses. We could use some of the money for that. Again, Westmore is the one cutting the budget to the schools, not actually the county. The school budget is actually state, federal, and local, so the 911 money from us locally can subsidize the fact that Westmore is pulling all the funding away from rural Republican counties and giving it to places like PG County. Now, I know a lot of people support Westmore in counties like Prince George's and Montgomery. John Barr endorsed him. John Barr gave him $250 on August 1st. I don't know why a Republican would do that in a Republican primary by donating to Westmore, but he did. Anyhow, the 911 fee increase could be used to pay for a lot of legal fees that the county has incurred lately, from silencing the free speech of citizens and then getting the crap suit out of them in federal court by multiple people. So we could use the money from those fees to subsidize those costs. And then I want to share a story about how important 911 is. My son is 7 years old, and they taught him at Maryland School for the Deaf about 911 about 2 weeks ago. So now every time I tell him to go to bed, or I try to get him to eat something he doesn't want to eat, he starts telling me that he's going to call 911 on me. So it's important that we have 911 up and running, because small children, who are the most vulnerable in the population, can actually call 911. They can remember the number. It's very important for us to have. You know, just think about it. If you were an 8-year-old girl and your grandfather was molesting you, you would want to be able to call 911 on Commissioner John Barr. Thank you for your time.
This concludes the public comment portion of the hearing. Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff or the applicant? No comments. This public hearing is now concluded. We will now move on to deliberation.
Calling for a vote
We would need a vote today, a motion if possible.
today?
Yes, so that we can meet the April deadline for turning this change into the state.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. With that, we'll move to the next item under tab 2, which is presentation of proclamation for National Surveyors Week. So we have folks here from. Good morning. If you'll give us your name for the records.
Yes. Good morning. This is fine St. Patrick's Day. My name is Bob Banzoff Jr. I'm a past president of the Maryland Society of Surveyors, and I'm currently Public Relations Committee Chair. I come before you today during National Surveyors Week, which is celebrated annually every third week of March. During this time, we like to inform or remind the public about who we are and what we do. Surveying is one of the 5 licensed design professions in Maryland. When Maryland was founded in 1634, the success of the new colony depended entirely on having people settle on the land. One of the first operations that the colonial proprietors had to carry out was to set up a general land office to survey out and parcel out lands and patent them to anyone who was issued a warrant from either themselves or the King of England. And surveyors have been present and active in this state ever since, contributing to the development of the state and on a larger scale, the whole country. Even during COVID, during the pandemic, we were deemed an essential service and continue to work. We're usually the first in and last out on any development project. First, we perform a boundary and topographic survey, and then after design is accomplished, we'll stake out all improvements for construction. water, sewer, storm drains, stormwater management, underground utilities, roadways, curbs, paving, and eventually buildings or houses. We then conduct as-built surveys, and after all that, we're often requested to provide a certain type of comprehensive survey to companies which provide title insurance to lenders. I'm sure folks here that were in realty are familiar with that. People see the product of our work everywhere, but we're like the forest for the trees. We're mostly invisible to the general public. So therefore, I thank you, Board of County Commissioners, for taking notice today and assisting us in our endeavor to inform the public this National Surveyors Week. And that concludes my remarks here today. Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bob, we do have a proclamation. It's my honor to present it. I'm going to come up here to the flags. On behalf of my fellow commissioners, I would like to present this proclamation. National Surveyors Week, March 15th to March 21st, 2026. Whereas National Surveyors Week was proclaimed nationally by the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, on February 13th, 1984, National Surveyors Week is recognized every year starting the third Sunday in March. And whereas the goal of the National Surveyors Week is to educate the public on the importance of surveying, which has been part of the advancement of civilization since the beginning of recorded history. And whereas Washington County was created from Frederick County by resolve of the Constitutional Convention of 1776 and named for General George Washington. The northern boundary of Washington County is part of the Mason-Dixon line, arguably the most famous border named for its surveyors, run and marked prior to the American Revolution. And whereas the state of Maryland has established only 5 licensed design professionals regulated by licensing board, one of which is professional land surveying. In addition to defining boundaries for land ownership, surveyors are also involved in the planning, construction, and as-built mapping of roadways, bridges, and buildings, subdivisions, and all the supporting infrastructure, including but not limited to water, sewer, electricity, natural gas, storm drainage, and stormwater management. Therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, do hereby recognize March 15, 2026 through March 21st, 2026 as National Surveyors Week and encourage all of our citizens to recognize professional surveyors, and the important work they do in our community. Awarded this 17th day of March, 2026. Let's come up front and deal with everything. Disappeared the whole time I started. Yeah, it's a peak of this color. Everything has a full order. Okay, next item under tab 3 is Salary Study Commission final report. Zach, you're up.
Thank you, President Barr. Zachary Kiefer, County Attorney, and I have the chair of the Salary Study Commission here with me. I'll let Mr. Wilson introduce himself for the record before getting started on the presentation.
Richard Wilson, Chair of the Salary Study Commission.
The purpose of this agenda item is to present the recommendations of the salary study commissions on the salaries of several elected officials in Washington County to the Board of County Commissioners. The county is charged by the local government article of the Maryland Code, Title 28, Subtitle 2, with conducting a salary study for several public offices every 4 years. The salary study is conducted by the Salary Study Commission. These members are nominated by statutorily mandated organizations in Washington County, enumerated in 28.203 of the local government article. The Salary Study Commission is tasked with creating a report to present to the county commissioners as their recommendations. The county commissioners are not bound by the recommendations of this report and are free to reduce or reject the recommended salary increase. However, pursuant to the statute, the county commissioners may not enact a higher salary than that recommended by the Salary Study Commission. And commissioners, you see in the both in the discussion and of the ARF and the reports, the recommendation equates to a 8.14% increase for the salaries of the Board of County Commissioners, the Board of Education, the Board of Liquor License Commissioners, and judges of the Orphans Court. I will note, and the actual figures are in the report and the agenda report form. I will note that there is a small typo. The judges of the Orphans Court are currently paid $7,800, not $8,000. But because the salary study subtitle permits the Board of County Commissioners to fix a salary that is less than what is recommended, I think this is a fairly easy fix, that instead of the 8.14% increase to $8,000, it would be simply an 8.14% increase to $7,800, rounding to the nearest dollar is $8,400. That would be the only change there. And then a quick note for the treasurer's salary, or the treasurer of Washington County, there is no increase recommended. The recommendation is and has been $6,000, and that's because a separate section of the local government article, 16205, allows the Board of County Commissioners to increase the treasurer's salary beyond the salary study recommendation. As I understand it, and as bears out historically, that has been the case, and the treasurer's position is currently budgeted at an hourly rate of $38.93 per hour, which equates to an $80,974 annual salary. And just to note, consistent with the other unclassified elected positions, Sheriff's Office Treasurer, or excuse me, Sheriff's Office State's Attorney, the Treasurer position is not subject to midterm salary adjustments. So the Budget and Finance budgets annually for that salary, and per the really the constitutional issue of precluding any midterm salary adjustments, the salary would stay at $89.74. And that the increase would be, if approved, would be effective with the commencement of the next term of office. So after the 2026, or the officers are sworn in 2026. And Richard, I'll turn the floor over to you to provide any additional comments or thoughts there.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Kiefer. You've covered well the subject matter before us, I believe, this morning. I do want to note that with regard to the treasurer's salary, past salary study commissions have recommended that the treasurer be taken out of this section of the state law, in that you have already placed the treasurer within the county employee structure. That seems to be working well to provide adequate compensation for that position. And we did not give as much consideration to the validity of the proposed increase for the treasurer, because he was already in the county system. And county salaries, according to work done by county staff, have increased 9.14%, something like 9.14% over the same study period that we used. So we believe that our calculation of 8.14, which need to remember is a compounding of the cost of living increases for each year. So no one year did anyone get an 8% salary increase, but when you take 2.6 and you raise it by 3.14 or whatever, you get to a higher number since you're only doing this every 4 years. We did look at the comparability across jurisdictions. We tried to look at similar jurisdictions rather than, we're not comparing salaries here in Washington County to some of the larger or more urbanized areas of our state. There was only one unit that we studied, that being the Board of Licensed Commissioners, where they actually had kind of duplicated our work. They documented well what their responsibilities were, even more so than the Board of Education and the Board of County Commissioners and the other bodies. They concluded, because they're self-funding, that they could increase their wages 11% and still meet their budget. So one of the critical considerations the Salary Study Commission performed was to say, is it fair for us to recommend 8.14 for these other groups and allow one group, because they're self-funding, to go to 11? We recommend that their salary increase also stick to the 8.14% level. And in conclusion, we do urge the Board of County Commissioners to adopt our recommendation for their own salaries, but not your own, because it will be in November that a new Board of County Commissioner will be formed. So you're voting on a salary increase that would accrue to the next incumbent in the office. And it is our belief that in order to retain, and you all know what the responsibilities are of Board of County Commissioners, and they are increasing, that to cap this commissioner's salary at the present level does not allow citizens that would like to be engaged in public service, but also have to depend upon their other employment income to be able to afford to say, now I'll just go part-time in my regular job and work as a county commissioner. So do you have any questions of us?
No questions.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Ready to move forward?
Yeah, I'd recommend to adopt the proposal by the Salary Commission.
And I will second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, ready to vote. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Next item is under tab 4, FY 2027 General Fund Budget Proposed. Kelsey Mace, good morning. And Kim, good morning.
Good morning, Kelsey Mace, Chief Financial Officer.
Kim Edlin, Director of Budget and Finance.
And this morning, we're here to present the proposed FY27 General Fund Budget. This budget is not final until it is formally adopted and is still able to be changed with a majority vote of the Commission after its adoption. The FY27 proposed budget is balanced at $355.7 million and is a $32.6 million increase over FY26 approved budget. Your packet includes summary information that provides 10 years of historical data and outlines the assumptions used in determining the amounts used for the proposed budget. The summary pages also provide a higher level of summary information by categories, such as tax revenues, charges for services, and grants for operations. Or for expenditures, the categories include education, law enforcement, and emergency services. Revenue assumptions maintain the current tax rates for both income tax and real or personal property tax, which are 2.95% for income tax and 92.8 cents per $100 of assessed value for real or personal property. The original requested budget included $34.7 million in revenues and $364.5 million in expenditures, leaving a $17.5 million deficit or shortfall. The county administrator met with budget and finance staff to review, and decisions were made based on that review of historical spending, potential inflation, mandated funding requirements, and a prioritization established by individual departments. This slide shows the FY27 revenues by source. The FY27 budget is funded 91% by property and income tax. As part of the balancing process, staff reevaluated income projections. Based on that reevaluation, the following adjustments were made. Increase the amount projected for real and personal property tax by $5 million based on historical trends. Increase the amount projected for income tax by $2.8 million based on actual revenue received to date and updated projections for FY26. Increase the amount projected based on current cash for interest based on current cash balances and the interest rates. Charges for services increased due to making a market adjustment to in-kind sponsorships. And the addition of a transfer for the hotel from the hotel rental fund for the 250th celebration. Property tax increased $15.8 million over the FY26 budget and is based on assessed values provided by the State Department of Assessments and Taxation, which we then adjusted based on our actual experience. Income tax increased $14.1 million based on a careful consideration of recent budget experience as well as continued wage growth of about 4%. The county expects to receive $2.5 million in disparity grant in FY27, which is a flat amount. Interest income increased $0.5 million based on our current cash balances and interest rates. Charges for services increased $2 million based on a reduction in the estimated revenue for the fire plan review and inspection fees based on our actual experience in FY26. Grants and other income increased $1.2 million. Part of this is the increase to the 911 fee, and additionally an increase in the amounts transferred from the EMS billing fund due to increased EMS staffing from recent transitions. This slide shows the FY27 proposed expenditures by category. The county allocates the largest portion of its annual budget to the Board of Education at 36%. Total budget for education is 41%, or $145.8 million, which includes the Board of Education, Hagerstown Community College, and the public library system. The second largest portion is for public safety at 28%, or $97.8 million. Public safety includes law enforcement, emergency services, emergency management, 911, and animal control. Other county operations make up 18% of the budget, or $64 million. Debt service, which is represented here as a part of capital costs, is 4% of the budget at $16.1 million. Balancing adjustments to the expenditures include, in wages and benefits, personnel requests were reduced by $0.7 million based on the recommendations by the Personnel Committee. Additional personnel request of $87,880 was added to fund the emergency management planner position, which was previously grant funded. Amount for additional contributions to pension were reduced by $4 million, leaving $4 million in extra contributions. For operations, the operating budgets were reduced $1.5 million due to a line-by-line review. Outside agency budgets increased due to the market adjustment to in-kind costs, which has a direct revenue offset. For capital outlay, $1 million of requests are being recommended to be funded in the current year through a budget adjustment, and $1 million of reductions based on the affordability and necessity. Compared to FY26, the Board of Education budget increased $6.3 million based on required funding under the blueprint and the state BRFA. Wages and benefits increased $12.6 million due to the proposed COLA of 1% and one step. As you heard during the personnel recommendations, included in the budget is a decompression of the WCC scale. There's $1.2 million in personnel requests, $1.7 million for a retiree COLA of 1%, an additional $64,000 to pay off prior year retiree COLAs. Normally, we split the cost over 3 years, but we're proposing to pay off all outstanding balances. And $4 million extra for pension. We are currently funded at 89%, but we're still striving towards that 100%. County operations increased $1.9 million over the prior year. IT increased $0.4 million due to increased software costs. Wireless communications increased $0.3 million due to increased costs related to the public safety radio system. State's attorney increased $0.1 million due to new software. Building maintenance costs increased $0.1 million, and other increases of $1 million were spread out across the remaining departments due to increases in insurance, materials, and contracted services. This budget does include $500,000 in general ops for future EMS transitions. Public safety operations had a $0.9 million increase. Law enforcement increased $0.5 million due to increased costs for insurance premiums, software, medical services for inmates, and an increase in laboratory staff salaries for Narcotics Task Force. Emergency services increased $0.2 million due to increased costs of contracted services, medical fees to provide cancer screenings for firefighters, and a 3% increase in direct allocations to volunteer fire and rescue companies from $113,000 each to $117,000. Animal control services increased $0.2 million based on the current contract. Capital transfers increased $8.9 million based off of the current draft of the FY27 CIP plan. And lastly, transfers to other operating funds increased $2 million. Funding for Clean County operations, which were previously funded through the CIP, are more appropriately to be funded through an operating transfer. That increase was $0.3 million. The wage scale decompression increased needed general fund support to other operating funds, most notably the highway, transit, and golf funds. The 5-year projection is a tool used by management to identify future year issues and allow management to plan for those conditions prior to their arrival. A 5-year projection is an educated projection of the county's financial performance over the next 5 years, and it is an important document for potential investors. It provides a tool that can be used to make informed decisions, reduce wasteful spending, and identify potential future issues. For revenues, this projection is as of the end of February for FY26. Revenues are expected to be $343 million, or 3% over adjusted budget. Expenses are projected to be $333 million, or 0.7% under budget. The projected surplus is $10.5 million, or 3% of the budget. The assumptions used for revenue include for real estate and property tax, assumes that assessments will not continue to increase at the same rate. While a reduction in revenue is not currently built in, assessments could possibly be reduced in future years. Income tax assumes an increase will be normal growth at 3% per year. Recordation tax assumes a return to normal activity. Interest assumes future rate cuts by the Federal Reserve that will drive future interest rates down. The assumptions used for the expenditures include regular steps and COLAs for employees, regular COLA increases for retirees, additional position growth and scale adjustments, assumes normal inflation of 2 to 3%, and capital transfers are based off of the current proposed CIP plan. So the FY27 budget will not be formally adopted until May of this year. Important dates for the public coming up. April 28th will be the public hearing on rate changes. May 5th will be the public budget hearing in the evening at the Public Safety Training Center. And on May 19th, we currently have scheduled the adoption of the budget. So at this time, I will take any questions or comments.
Kelsey, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I seeing that I think we had talked earlier, we're trending 9 or 10 million above budget?
Yes.
And that's, well, my thoughts are also that if we're trending that, which is good, that's great, actually, is I know the Planning Commission approved a complete site plan for the training center. Is there a way we can utilize some of that money to move that project along a little quicker?
That'll be my next agenda item.
Okay.
Number 5.
Okay. That's all I have.
Great.
And then while I have you, do you have any additional comments or direction for the capital plan for FY27?
Don't hear any.
Okay.
Okay, under tab 5, FY26 budget amendment, tax revenue.
Morning again, Kelsey Mace, Chief Financial Officer. Staff is requesting approval for a budget amendment to increase certain tax revenue budgets based on current projection and a recommended use of the increased funding. Staff is requesting approval to amend property and income tax revenue budgets based on year-to-date trends by $11 million in total. Additionally, staff is requesting to use those funds for the following purposes: $242,900 for additional fees imposed by the State Department of Assessments and Taxation for a billing error, $250,000 to replace funds in the IT budget, $151,000 for additional Motorola licensing fees for the upgraded public safety radio system, $64,000 for additional protective gear for patrol officers, $46,480 for the emergency management planner salary, $5 million for pension, $4,226,800 for capital reserves, and $1,018,820 to fund capital outlay items that were requested in the FY27 budget.
And based on Commissioner Wagner's previous comments on the item we just talked about, I would suggest if we want to consider funding additional improvements at the Public Safety Training Center, that the $5 million for pension and the $4.2 million for capital reserves be dedicated for the Public Safety Training Center, making it $9.2 million.
So we're actually trending 11 million.
For
So
now,
what
but
Michelle
there's-
just said, 9 million. And our pension fund, when I came in 7 years ago, was probably in the 50% range. And today it's at 89%. So we're doing really good there, covering our pensions.
We are.
And it doesn't affect our AA bond rating at all by doing anything like this, correct?
Correct.
The national average for funded ratio for government plans is 78 to 83%. We are well above that national average. The goal is 100%, and I anticipate that we will reach that goal within the next, 5 to 10 years.
And that's amazing, because like I said, I think we were in the high 50% 7 years ago, so we've made a lot of progress
We
on.
have.
Because that was really a concern for everybody with the pension fund being down so low there for a while. Well, I assume it was low, at least lower than recommended. So back to the original question. I mean, I'd like to see the training center funded more. I don't know how we get to that. I guess you already explained that a little bit.
I would recommend making those two changes to her recommendations.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
One of the projects I'd like to be considered, I'm going to support Randy Wagner's suggestion and/or soon-to-be motion for the high-bay storage training facility. As our volunteers have a great public safety inquiry, or have a great public safety training center for the educational and classroom part, but we need that outside training to continue to keep them at their best skills possible. So like I've often said, so they can return home alive. So I would support that transition of the money as suggested by Commissioner Wagner. If you'd like to make that a motion?
Yeah, what's the amount again, Michelle?
$9.2 million for the high bay storage training facility, rather than $5 million for pension and $4.2 million for reserves.
I'd make that motion as stated by the county administrator.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4-0. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next item under tab 6 is the Arena Installment Payment Program, IPP Stream Restoration Easement. Good morning, Chris.
Morning, Commissioners. Chris Boggs, Rural Preservation Administrator, Department of Planning and Zoning. This morning, I bring to you a proposal for the Anthony Arena Stream Restoration Easement. Mr. Arena is pursuing this stream restoration easement on his property on Fairview Road in Clear Spring. The project will serve to improve the stream and also will end the existing stream buffer, adding a 4.56 acre conservation easement over the buffer area. This easement is a time-limited easement. It only lasts for 20 years. You know, the majority of the easements that I do are perpetual. So this is a little different, but yeah, it's only a 20-year easement. It's being managed by a company called Ecotone, specializing in stream restoration projects. And the consensus of the staff and the Ag Land Preservation Advisory Board is that the project is worthwhile and of merit, and will improve the quality of the stream while not taking any agricultural land out of production. For a little background, in 2006, Mr. Arena sold an IPP easement, which is a county easement, to the commissioners for $344,522. The easement states in it, however, that no rights-of-way, easements, oil, gas, or mineral leases or other similar servitude may be conveyed from or permitted to be established in the property without the grantee's express permission. So we're the grantee, so prior to him starting this project, the commissioners need to approve the project. There will be no county funds used for this easement. The funds are being pursued by Ecotone through the Clean Water Commerce Act. As I mentioned previously, the Ag Board has approved the project. Staff thinks it's worthwhile. It's gonna, it's just gonna make the property better, both, ecologically and agriculturally. So the recommended motion is to approve the Anthony P. Arena Stream Restoration Easement. Any questions?
It's probably written here, and I probably just haven't seen it. What's the name of the stream?
Well, you know what? I think,
I'm just curious.
Rockdale Run is written on here.
yes, right, that's it. So there's already existing fencing around the stream. It's already not, it's already not part of the tillable ground or anything. What Ecotone's gonna do is they're just gonna come in and they're gonna fix some spots where there's been stream collapse and trees laying in it and things like that, and plant a little more buffer grass and trees, and basically just an overall improvement of the area.
I'd motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4-0.
Well,
Thank
the
you.
question I always ask you, how much land in all your preservation programs has Washington County done, and what's our goal?
So currently we are north of 43,398 total. So we're almost at 44,000.
Thank you very much.
We have the calculator that I use on my GIS currently is they're tinkering with it, so I couldn't.
So in some type of easement, about 100,000 acres.
Yeah, whether it's public lands, state, local, federal parkland, conservation easements, things like that, ag districts, we're about 100 grand.
And that would be, what I've been told, that's approximately 1/3 of Washington County is some type of preservation that can't be developed.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Chris. Next item under tab 7 is construction bid award, Kretzinger Road culvert replacement. Morning, Scott.
Good morning, Scott Hobbs, Director of Engineering. I'm recommending the board award the bid for the Kretzinger Road culvert replacement contract to the lowest responsible bidder, Huntsberry Brothers of Smithsburg, Maryland, in the amount of $436,995. The project was advertised in the Merrill Marketplace website and the county's electronic bid site. 15 companies downloaded the bid document online, and on February 18th, the county accepted bids. 6 bids were received, as detailed on the attached bid tabulation. The bids have been evaluated and the low bid is in order. The project involves the replacement of a concrete culvert on Kretzinger Road. Work includes construction of a precast reinforced concrete box culvert with cast-in-place concrete end walls, grading, asphalt paving, and installation of traffic barriers. Project is a 180 consecutive calendar day contract with an anticipated notice to proceed in April with a completion date in October. The bid documents include liquidated damages in the amount of $500 per calendar day for work beyond the completion date. There will be a road closure associated with the work, and public notices will be made and road signs placed and posted prior to the start of work. This is a budgeted capital improvement plan project, BRG 091. and estimated expenses are $561,000, including $436,995 for the proposed bid award and $125,000 for other expenses such as inspection, testing, utilities, right-of-way, and construction contingency. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item under tab 8 is filter replacement change order for Smithsburg wastewater treatment plant ENR upgrade, purchase 1623.
Good morning. Joe Moss, Deputy Director of Engineering for the Department of Water Quality. I'm here this morning to request approval of an engineering design services proposal in the amount of $74,900 to design the modifications to the existing filter building so that we can change that equipment out. One of the requirements under the scope of work for the Smithsburg ENR upgrade project was to clean and paint the interior walls of the steel vessels that contain the filter units. When the filters were taken out of service and drained to allow the contractor to begin his work, it was discovered that the support rollers for the rotating filter mechanisms had deteriorated to the point where the entire center discharge tube migrated away from the opening in the filter wall. This created a significant gap between the wall opening and the discharge end of the center tube, allowing effluent water to pass through the filters without being filtered, and thus reducing the quality of the plant effluent. We requested the contractor to contact the filter manufacturer, Aqua Aerobics, and have an evaluation of the filters completed to determine our options for rehabbing or replacement. These filters were installed in the mid-1990s and thus have been in continuous service for over 30 years. The condition of this equipment has deteriorated over the years, and some of the equipment and controls do not function according to their original intent. Aqua Aerobics Systems recommends replacement of the filters in their entirety to include controls and the associated instrumentation. The engineering and design consultant for the Smithsburg upgrade was requested to provide the county with a proposal to design modifications necessary to enable the contractor to replace the filters in kind. One of the biggest challenges with replacing the filters here is the lack of an adequately sized access door in an exterior wall to remove the existing units and install new ones. Because of this, a new wall opening and roll-up door will need to be designed and constructed before demolition of the existing filters can begin. Another significant expense will be the installation of temporary filters to provide treatment during construction. The lead time for new filters is approximately 6 months. Funds have been transferred from CIP account 3242010 LIN 042 to TRP 021 in the amount of $74,900 to cover the cost of these services, and change order number 20 has been signed and is attached.
I have one correction to that. The funds are recommended to be transferred from the capacity management project to the Smithsburg wastewater treatment project in the amount of $74,900. So the motion needs amended to approve the attached budget adjustment that transfers these ARPA funds from one project to another. The budget adjustment is included in your packet.
I have a curious question, as always. After all that time, 30 years or whatever it was, is there any way we should have known that those filters were deteriorated before we got to this point?
Well, it's one of those slow progressing degradation of equipment.
I mean, just for future, I mean, is there any checks or balances to, I don't, it's just like preventive maintenance.
What would be the big indicator is that solids would be, increasing in our discharge. We're allowed to have, a certain level of solids.
Right.
Not really distinguishable to the eye, but, in the laboratory, you're allowed, our permit allows some. That would be the biggest indicator is that, your solids, your suspended solids and your effluent would start creeping up. And that would be an indicator that this is happening again. But takes an awful long time, for them to get to this point. And
Yeah, it's just one of those things that, I'm not throwing stones by any means, it's just that it seems like we could have figured this out in the future for other similar systems that, okay, this is probably gonna be deteriorated, instead of getting to the point where it's shot, and then I just like, working on any mechanical device, to me, it's like preventive maintenance, and I don't know, maybe I don't know what even I'm talking about. It just seems like the catastrophe happens before you realize it.
based on what I've seen for what has degraded over the years, it's such a slow progression. And, without the suspended solids increasing in the effluent,
Right, gotcha.
there wouldn't be any suspicion. Most of the equipment that I have over, my experience over the years, most equipment in wastewater treatment plants, if you get 30 years out of them, you're getting your money's worth.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things you would have to budget for it every 30 to 40 years.
Joe, do you have any idea what the outflow is from that facility daily, or you're not sure?
I'm sorry,
The outflow from that facility daily, do you have any idea what that is?
It's around 300, it's obviously different every day, but
Yeah.
depending on the weather.
But 300?
300 and some thousand a day.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, motion to approve with the corrections stated.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item under tab 9, fiscal year 2026 annual capital transit grant, approval to accept awarded funding and submit ratifying grant contract.
Good morning, Carsten Arens, Senior Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
Hi, good morning. Sean Harbaugh, Transit Director.
We would ask that the commission move to approve and accept awarded funding and ratification of contract for grant under the Federal Transit Act. Washington County Transit annually applies to Maryland Department of Transportation and Maryland Transit Authority for federal and state and capital grant funding. The grant funds are used to purchase, maintain needed equipment in Washington County. The fiscal year 2026 application requests $1,525,784 in state and federal funds from MTA and Federal Transit Administration to subsidize the transit system at current levels of service. This would require a local share of $269,256, which is already budgeted.
Questions? Motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, gentlemen. Next item under tab 10 is fiscal year 2026 annual transit operational grant, approval to accept awarded funding and submit and ratify a grant contract.
Carsten Arens, Senior Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
Sean Harbaugh, Director of Transit.
We request that the County Commission move to approve it, to accept awarded funding and ratification of contract for grant funding under the Federal Transit Act. Washington County Transit annually applies for the Maryland Department of Transportation and Maryland Transit Administration for federal and state operational grant funding. The grant funds are used to operate authorized transportation programs within Washington County, which include the Section 5307 Public Transportation Fixed Route Program, the American Disabilities Act, the Complementary Paratransit Program, the statewide Special Transportation Assistance Program, also known as Ride Assist Voucher Program, and the Capital Assistance Program. The fiscal year 2026 application requests $2,308,698 in state and federal funds from MTA and the Federal Transit Administration to subsidize the transit system at current levels of service. This would also require a local commitment of $1,804,984, which is also already budgeted.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, under tab 11, is the Office of Problem Solving Courts discretionary grant application submittal.
Good morning, Richard Lesh, Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
I'm Jennifer Bricker. I'm the Treatment Court Coordinator.
I'm Mark Singer. I'm the new court administrator by about 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Today, we're here to request motion to approve the submittal of the fiscal year 2027 Office of Problem Solving Courts discretionary grant application for $272,511.33 and accept the funding as awarded. This program works to reduce substance abuse and criminal behavior while increasing positive community involvement and overall individual and family functioning. These grants will allow better access to justice and treatment services by providing frequent drug and alcohol monitoring, case management, support services, educational and vocational access, mental and medicational health access, as well as peer recovery, support services, and numerous other services.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 4-0. Thank you.
Very much. Mark, that was
Thank
pretty,
Yep,
that was pretty easy,
appreciate
Mr.
it. Yeah,
Singer.
welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and next item is under tab 12, Hagerstown Regional Airport Advisory Commission, and Dawn, you're up.
Dawn Marcus, County Clerk. Good morning, Commissioners. On behalf of the Hagerstown Regional Airport Advisory Commission, I am requesting a motion to reappoint Rob Faree to serve a third full 3-year term from March 1st of 2026 through February 28th of 2029. Mr. Faree has had a 1-year intervening period since his last term ended. This is not a paid board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Like a motion to go into closed session for the reasons stated.
Motion to move into closed session.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I took a stall there. 4-0. Thank you very much. And let's take a 5-minute recess.